The other big engineering marvel we have out here is directly in front of you, about almost 2.5 miles away. The big vehicle assembly building. It's where they used to put the moon rockets together. It's where today we put our space shuttles together. John and I would love to drive you inside there. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened in over 31 years.
Okay, here.
In big winds like a hurricane, that building can sway up to a foot.
Just give the flag.
It's also noted for being the world's tallest single-story building. Single story. And for all the folks trying to take pictures through the windows, here's a hint. How about we stop here in about 40 minutes and let you off the bus?
I got 2 good pictures.
So we can enjoy some of that Florida sunshine. Yes, the doors open up vertically like a deck of cards one underneath the other. It's on the NASA logo side where we assemble the shuttles today. Back during the Apollo days, they'd use both the front and the back side of the building. This other building to your front left, the long flat roof building, the Launch Control Center. Countdown starts 3.5 days prior to launch. Where do the astronauts' immediate families watch the launch from? Right on top of that roof right there. That's where they watch their loved ones going into space. Why are the doors open? To get some heat inside the building. It's not environmentally controlled. Now look to your immediate left, ladies and gentlemen. There's one of our 2 crawler transporters, the big track-like vehicle. You see the doors are partially open. Look way off to your left. You see a big gray square thing with a crane in front of it. Looks like a couple of rabbit ears on top of it. That's a mobile launch platform. You see how it's resting on pedestals. That way we can get the crawler to drive underneath it and pick it up off the pedestals. And then drive it out to the launch pad. This roadway to your immediate left, that big tractor takes up both sides of that roadway. They were supposed to have rolled out the Space Shuttle Discovery tomorrow. It's too cold. So it won't go out till early March the 2nd. What will it look like? Look at that monitor right above your head.
Hi, I'm Bob Myers, System Engineer for Crawler Transport. Been on the Crawler Transporter now for about 20 years. Crawler is a vehicle that's used to move the shuttle and the mobile launch platform from the vehicle assembly building to the pad. It does equate pretty much just like being on a ship. It takes about 18 to 20 technicians and 7 engineers to move it along the crawler way. The crawler itself is about 6 million pounds. It's comprised of 4 trucks and 8 tracks. Each of those tracks have 57 cleats, each weighing a ton. The crawler carries 9 million pounds of mobile launch platform plus another 3 million pounds of shuttle assembly. So you're looking at about 18 million pounds rolling down the crawler at one time. But it is never routine. There's always something a little bit different. We're always changing the crawler just a little bit. We're always making it a little bit better. So it's enjoyable to work on. It's not how fast the crawler can move. It's how slow the crawler can move. The crawler itself is able to actually position within 1/8 of an inch tolerance. The crawler transporter typically has to dock the mobile launcher and shuttle stack within plus or minus an inch of its landing spot. STM is JVCT, Net 104. You try to envision it just like a job, but at the same time, there's a great sense of satisfaction that you've actually put a piece of hardware into space.
Okay, we have 2 launch pads here at the Kennedy Space Center. In front of us is Pad A, where the Endeavour took off a week ago Monday. To the left is Pad B. They're doing some construction on Pad A, so we haven't been out there since the launch. This structure to your right is the first stop of the regular tour. This is as close as they get. We're going to go around the back side of the launch pad, our only access road that's open. This launch pad in front of you, Pad A, is where we're going to launch all the remaining shuttle missions. It's where we've been launching all the shuttles for the last 3 years. Just refurbish it. It takes about 2 weeks to get it refurbished. But here's the thing. As John makes the turn, compare his bus to the width of the crawlerway. Look at the tractor tread marks. So this roadway that the big tractor drives on is 7 feet deep, different layers of rock and fill. The top 7 inches that you're looking at, that's not gravel, that's river rock, from the Tennessee River. It's like nature's ball bearings. It helps spread out all that weight, helps reduce all that friction. You see the top layer gets pulverized. They just recirculate it with a big drag chain. Now, one thing about when we see the launch pads here in a moment, Pad A, all the men who walked on the moon, beginning with Neil Armstrong, were all launched from there. It's where we launched our very first space shuttle. Some of you might recall, it was called Columbia, and that will be 29 years ago this spring. This mission that's currently up there right now with our Space Shuttle Endeavour is the 130th Space Shuttle mission. But I can guarantee you, I'd say over half the people in this bus recall one specific shuttle launch that's etched in the back of your mind.
Oh yeah.
And that was called Challenger.
Yes.
And that was 24 years ago last month. And ironically, or coincidentally, it was the first time we launched a space shuttle from that launch pad in front of you, Pad B, on a nice clear sky, super cold day, just like today. We used this launch pad for 20 years for shuttles. Over 50 shuttle missions, including John Glenn's flight when he was only 77 years old. But probably the most important flight for NASA, and for everybody, was the launch of the Hubble telescope took place right here. That will be almost 20 years ago. For the last 3 years, they've been modifying it for that new program, which was called Constellation. 2 weeks ago, Monday, Constellation was canceled. The biggest modification they made to the launch pad is those 3 big towers. Those are lightning masts. They're there to protect the rocket as it stood on top of the launch pad. The new rocket, the new program, was almost twice as tall as the shuttle. Therefore, you needed taller lightning protection. 3 months ago, we had a test flight of that new rocket called Ares 1. Maybe some of you saw that on your cable television. That was back at the end of October. The one and only flight of the Ares 1 rocket took off from right here. So they took some things off the launch pad that were shuttle related for the test flight. It's pretty close to what it is where the shuttle goes off from. The big thing I can point out to you is the water tower. That's for the shuttle program. 300,000 gallons of water gets released just before liftoff. It floods that launch pad area. It gets sprayed on top of that platform that the shuttle's mounted on. You might think they use all that water to cool everything off. Nope. They use all that water to reduce the noise. It's a sound suppression system to keep shock waves from bouncing up in the shuttle. So when you see a shuttle launch, you see all that smoke coming out from underneath it. Now you all know it's not really smoke. It's steam. And not so much to cool it, but to reduce the shock waves. That big boxy structure to the front of the tall tower, officially they call it a rotating service structure. To you and I, that's a refrigerator door. It's mounted on hinges, which closes around the shuttle when it's on the pad to provide weather protection. It also provides access to the cargo bay. That's where they load up the cargo or payloads, like an Italian-built living module for the United States. This bus you're riding in can easily fit inside the space shuttle with another minivan.
Fedwick.
Feckwick.
Fedwick. Fedwick.